James was an average-looking guy with messy hair and a slightly crooked nose, and an average IQ. He wasn't the type of person that would turn heads when he walked into a room, but he had a kind heart and a great sense of humor. Unfortunately, a kind heart and a sense of humor only trapped him inside friend zones. He wasn't quite lucky when it came to dating. Despite trying his best to put himself out there, he always seemed to get rejected by the girls he was interested in. He tried everything from online dating apps to approaching girls in VR chat, but nothing seemed to work. It appeared as though he was cursed to live a life of loneliness and chronic masturbation. One day, while scrolling through social media, he came across some online communities that claimed to help men in his situation. These communities were based on the principles of the red pill and the black pill. James was intrigued by these communities and their principles and decided to join them. He spent the next years of his early adult life watching podcasts and video shorts, enjoying a sense of brotherhood in Facebook groups, and stroking his ego while watching unsuspected hot girls being trolled and destroyed on the internet. It was a kind of relief for all the shit every girl made him go through before he managed to finally sift through all that and be inspired to start working on himself. He could feel that there was something wrong with these communities. He could feel that they're an extreme necessary social reaction to an extreme unnecessary social action. And it felt like it wasn't his cup of tea. So he stopped watching videos and started hitting the gym regularly and reading books and eating healthy and making money. But he couldn't divorce himself from the virtual brotherhood and the new virtual social circle he was in. And as he continued to immerse himself in these communities, listening to men's stories about their ex-girlfriends, he realized that he was becoming increasingly jaded and bitter toward women. He started to view them as mere objects of desire or the lack of it. He felt like he no longer cared about having a meaningful connection with them. He realized that at that point, most of the girls he has contact with are just the random feminists he owns in comment sections using statistics and common sense. Deep down, James knew that this wasn't who he truly was. He doesn't want to win socio-political wars or be a paw in one. He longed for a real connection with someone who would accept him for who he was. He wanted to be able to share his life with someone and build a future together. James was just a regular ass mammal who wants a regular ass life. James had always dreamed of finding that special girl to start a family with, but his luck with women continued to leave him feeling hopeless. Now that he's jacked as fuck, he started attracting the wrong type of girl for him, the type who just wants to feel good and have fun. He started to lose faith in the dating game and began to spend more time alone, scrolling social media and paying OnlyFans models to rate his wiener, hoping to find some sort of connection through that. One day, as he was scrolling through his Instagram feed, he came across a post from an old high school friend named Sarah. She had posted a photo of herself at a local charity event, and James couldn't help but feel drawn to her radiant smile and positive energy. For a quick moment, he was himself again, not thinking about her body count, or if she can make unbiased judgments based on data, or if she thinks feelings matter more than facts. It was a quick, peaceful moment, and he noticed that. After mustering up the courage to slide into her DMs, they started talking and realized they had a lot in common. They both loved hiking, trying new foods, conspiracy theories, and obscure Japanese cult films. They decided to meet up for coffee, and as soon as James saw her in person, he knew she was the one he had been waiting for. Maybe it was the big booty under the sundress. Maybe it was the way she slowly tucked her hair behind her ears while holding a book to her chest. No one knows. Sarah's beauty didn't exactly cause people to walk into walls, but she was comfortable in her own skin. In James's eyes, she was the embodiment of natural and unpretentious beauty, the kind that you might encounter during a regular stroll down the street, with long, curly hair and bright brown eyes. What really drew James to her wasn't just that. It was mostly her kind and compassionate heart translated into the way she carried herself, something she must have developed through her charity work. Over the next few months, they spent many moments together, exploring new restaurants and hiking trails, watching movies, and discussing porn. James couldn't believe how lucky he was to have found someone like Sarah. They talked about their dreams for the future and their lessons from the past, and James finally felt like he had found the person he wanted to start a family with. He didn't think it out loud, of course, because God forbid he do such a dangerous thing, rebelling against the social construct that bans talking about marriage in the first month of a legal romantic relationship. But deep down, he felt it. He didn't have to play mind games. It didn't even cross his mind to worry about her liking the way he looks and sounds. It was all natural and genuine. But just as things were starting to fall into place, a sudden tragedy struck. Sarah's mother was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer and given only a few months to live. James watched as Sarah's world crumbled around her. She was devastated, and he felt helpless. He wanted to do something to help, but he didn't know where to start. As the months went on, Sarah's mother's condition worsened. James tried to be there for Sarah as much as he could, but he could see the toll it was taking on her, and it felt like he was losing her because he could see that she was losing herself. One night, as they were sitting on the couch watching a movie, Sarah turned to James and told him that she needed to take a break. She needed to focus on her family and her mother's health, and she didn't have the energy to give to their relationship. Sarah was spread too thin emotionally and could see how James was struggling in a relationship with someone consumed with a family problem, so she thought about giving him some space. But James wasn't really struggling. He just didn't know how to be there for her. All those podcasts and videos he watched and all the gurus he religiously admired taught him nothing about this, and he didn't learn elsewhere for a good chunk of his life before dating Sarah. That's all he knew. James was devastated. He felt like he had finally found the person he had been looking for, only to have her taken away just as quickly. He didn't know how to cope with the pain, and he found himself slipping back into his old habits of spending too much time alone and feeling sorry for himself. But then something unexpected happened. As he was walking through the park one day, feeling lost and alone listening to Russian doomer music, he saw a group of volunteers cleaning up trash along the riverbank. Something inside of him clicked, and he wanted to try that. He started volunteering with different organizations around town, helping out at food banks and organizing fundraisers for local charities. As he started to give back to his community, he found that his sense of purpose and self-worth started to grow. But one day, as James sat there staring at the TV screen with a heavy heart, he realized that he needed to take a step back and reevaluate his priorities. He had been so consumed with finding love and a partner that he had forgotten about the most important thing in life, being there for the people you love. He knew that Sarah needed him now more than ever, and he wasn't going to let her down. He decided to put his own feelings aside and focus on being there for her in any way he could. Over the next few weeks, James put all his energy into helping Sarah and her family. He cooked meals for them, helped with household chores, and spent time with her mother, listening to her stories and making her laugh. He realized that being there for someone in their time of need was the most rewarding thing he could ever do, and it brought him closer to Sarah than ever before. As James sat by Sarah's mother's bedside in the hospital room, unconsciously checking her ass out, he couldn't help but feel grateful for the moments they were sharing. Watching Sarah take care of her mother with such love and compassion, he knew that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. One fateful night, as Sarah's mother's health improved, with a pounding heart, James pulled Sarah away from the hospital room and into the empty corridor. He took a deep breath and poured out his heart, confessing his love for her. As he spoke, he felt a sense of relief wash over him, as if he had been holding back this flood of emotion for far too long. Sarah's eyes grew misty with tears as she listened to James's heartfelt confession. She knew that his love was true, and her heart swelled with the same feelings. And with that, she threw her arms around him, telling him how much she loves him too, feeling the rush of emotions that come with confessing true love. They held each other tight, knowing that they had found something special in an indifferent world, knowing that they would always be there for each other. At that moment, they both knew that their love was a powerful force that would carry them through any challenge that lay ahead. Their love grew stronger with every passing day as they faced challenges and triumphs together. They took turns taking care of Sarah's mother, comforting each other during tough times, and laughing together during happy moments. As the weeks turned into months, Sarah's mother's health showed a gradual yet consistent recovery, and James and Sarah's relationship continued to evolve and strengthen. They had been through a lot together, facing various challenges that tested the strength of their love. But in the end, they realized that they had each other, and that was all that mattered. They found solace in knowing that no matter what, they could rely on one another to overcome any obstacle. As they looked back on their journey, they felt grateful for the experiences they had shared. They learned to communicate more openly and to trust each other more deeply. They discovered that their love was resilient and that it had grown stronger through adversity. James learned that he was never meant to find his special girl before finding his special self. He discovered that he needed to swallow the self-discovery pill before finding his sweetheart. He learned that spending too much time in virtual courtrooms giving all his attention to ping-pong games between the left and the right was a real drain on his energy. So he finally cut the cord from society's rat race and lived happily ever after with Sarah helping others and planting trees. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, sometimes it's important to step back from the online world and analyze your priorities and beliefs. Your true priorities may surprise you. Also, if you're searching for a partner to raise a tiny human with, it's best to steer clear of places where the only criteria for a good time are a symmetrical face and a chiseled jaw, and head to events where kindness is the dress code. You never know, you might just find someone who steals both your heart and the show at the charity dinner.